Happy birthday to me. Yay, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Denise.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this broadcast. My name is Denise Belil. I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. And I have with me today Leigh Schutzky. And I asked her to let me know how to say her name. Leigh Schutzky. That's right, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
And the reason why we're here today is because I do these Facebook and LinkedIn Live every Monday, where I have a special guest coming and talking with me, where we can learn a little bit more about my guests and also experiment on experience our. I don't know. I want to see one thing. See, I'm always adjusting things. Anyway, that's good because we don't see our name. I don't know why we don't see our name, but it's all good. Um, and the reason why this is called "It's All Good," look who's here for a chat. First of all, that's one thing that I often say whenever anything happens. I say, "Hey, it's all good." There's no point getting stressed out over things. There's no point, worrying about the future or rumbling things in my mind about the past. I can't change the past and I can't foresee the future. And
Yep.
also, that's my favorite cup. It's all good.
Yep.
So that's water, full of water. I, I drink like at least 3 of those a day, which is about
Good for
900
you.
ml. So
Good for you.
it keeps me hydrated. It keeps me healthy and with beautiful skin because I don't look a day over 29. And and so today my guest is Leigh, and I'm super excited to have her with us. And also, as you listening, just share, say hello in the chat, just say where you're from, if you have any question for us as you go along, and then we can go from there. And let me tell you a little bit about Leigh. Today, our topic is breaking free from the big lie, the big BFL. I don't know what the F stand for. The big lie is societal messaging that
Mhm.
we're not happy all the time. Something is fundamentally wrong with us. We're broken and we need fixing. So that's the big F lie. So, and Leigh is a certified life coach. She's on a mission to help people break free from the big lie or the big F lie, the big lie or the BFL in
Mhm.
societal messaging that we're not happy all the time. Something is fundamentally wrong with us and all that. So instead, Leigh's clients learn how to permanently stop beating themselves up in life and find true freedom from the crappy messaging surrounding them. Yeah, we hear a lot of stuff, and I totally agree with you. And that's why you're here with me because I wouldn't invite anyone I disagree with. No, so maybe one day I will, but that's not the point because it's all good. We
Yeah.
all we all agree to be happy, and what happened is that we can choose to make changes that we want, right? Not from
Mhm.
believing that there's a problem and
Right.
needing to be fixed.
Right.
We live authentically again without anyone or anything around us making us feel different. So we're super happy to have Leigh here with me today. And Leigh, please tell me a little bit more about yourself and what's your background and where you're from and what brought you to do what you do today as
Well,
a
like I
start.
said, first off, happy birthday, Denise, and thank you
Oh,
so much
thank
for having
you.
me. I think when you and I talked, it was what, a month or two ago when we first connected. So
Yeah,
exciting. It just happened to fall on your birthday, and that's awesome. And that's exciting.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was looking at my calendar and I said, well, the 8th is available.
Yeah.
I said, it's my
Yeah.
birthday. She said, oh, yeah, I want in.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, I live in Southern Oregon, so just north of the California border.
Mm.
But I came to this coaching, like I mentioned to you, when you and I had first talked a few months ago. I was still focusing specifically on helping people stop over drinking alcohol, which is part of my personal story. But about a month ago, I was at an in-person retreat, and I had my aha donkey on the edge moment because I was talking with a fellow retreat member, And he had stopped drinking a few years ago, which I knew. But he still felt bad. He was still like beating himself up because he said, "Oh, I have an addictive personality." And I was laying there that night and I'm like, that's the big lie. That's the societal messaging that we're still broken and in need of fixing, and he's still struggling and suffering with this concept. And I'm like, we all have addictive personalities. It's how our brains are wired, but our the societal messaging, the program we hear around us from, society, media, family, culture, religion, all of that is that our human condition, our human experience, if you're not happy 100% of the time, you're bad, you're broken, you need fixing. And that's absolutely BS. But like I said, when I was talking with him and he was saying, yeah, but I have this addictive personality, and he's like blaming himself. And I was like, that's the messaging. So I realized that's really where my passion is. It's like,
that's awesome.
of course I can help people stop over drinking alcohol, but it's much bigger about that. It's really helping, because I dealt with this myself as well. Like I grew up with, the expectation that A- work wasn't good enough, that it always needed to be fixed. And I realized that that's that awful messaging of we're broken, we're unworthy, something's wrong, we need to fix something. And so learning how to approach life where we're not beating ourselves up, we're embracing that, 8 billion people can't be wrong. 8 billion people in the world can't be broken. Seriously, that our human condition is perfect as it is.
Yeah, I think so. I think we all have, like, I don't know anyone that's not addicted to one thing, whether it is, like it could be the bad thing, the bad substance and alcohol and drugs and all that. But some people are addicted to Netflix. Some people are addicted to sugar. Most people are addicted to sugar. Some people are addicted to watching the news every day. That's an addiction, right? Like, I mean, it's a thing that if you take away, then you'll be missing it. And I think it's really important for people to realize that often we tend to, well, first of all, put a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? And feel bad about the things that we do. Like, for example, someone that eats sugar, or someone that, if we don't go to the extreme of negative connotation from addiction, like drug, alcohol, and all that, where it's the most stigmatic, right? But people that have, that tells themselves, oh, I'm so bad, like I'm not good enough, or this and that. I mean, it's just like, it's true. It's a big lie. It's just for me and my coaching, I call that the saboteurs and the judge, right? We have a big judge that lay over our head and is like dictating how we talk and how we behave and the reaction we should have, like
exactly.
Like this weekend I've been filled with sugar, and I feel crappy because I haven't had sugar in a while, but I won't have it the rest of the week, right?
And the thing is realizing that, again, society has created this word addiction in this label, and it's like, it's even that creates this negative connotation. Our brains are wired that way. Our brains are wired to seek concentrated rewards. It's part of being human. So labeling our brains as bad because they're addictive right from the get-go puts us in this negative hole. And it's like just realizing that, of course, our brains are going to seek things like alcohol and shopping and sugar and food and porn and overworking. That's how they're wired. And so the first thing, again, is just really realizing that, like I said, like it's even just really realizing that the languaging, we see it, like I've seen a lot of the languaging, but again, it's just that big lie that if we're not happy 100% of the time, something's wrong with us, we're bad, we're broken, we need fixing. And it's like, no, our human condition is that we're not going to be happy 100% of the time. That's our innate humanness. Like I said, 8 billion people on the planet can't be wrong, can't be problems.
Yeah.
So and that was kind of why I shifted, because I was just laying there thinking about it that night. And like I said, I'm like a donkey on the edge with Shrek. I'm like, this is the societal messaging. And I grew up with it, like I said, as well, from, family and religion and societal messaging and culture, and the media perpetuates it. So, yeah.
And the thing is, it's impossible. Like there's I think it's actually in the positive intelligence book that I read, that in my course and my certification, that is saying that if you were to give someone like $1 million, to be happy for 24 hours, or let's eliminate sleep because you can't help it, whatever happened in the sleep. Well, let's say 16 hours, to be happy for 16 hours. But literally, if you could measure the level of happiness in someone's brain and body, nobody could do it. Nobody could.
Impossible. Our brains can't do that.
They try the best. They can't. It's not
it's
sustainable to have a level of happiness. But what's controllable in my view is that to recognize and accept our emotion for what they are, and not, if we see that we're going over the edge of the more negative emotion, like I think people in general should live in neutral emotion. I think that should be a norm.
Well, see, and I actually think like that phrase of negative emotion, it's really just even embracing, to me, it's like I help my clients embrace the full spectrum of our human emotions, whether it's the emotions that make them feel comfortable or the emotions they're not comfortable with. Because again, that's that color palette that helps us paint the full canvas of our lives. So again, without sadness, we can't feel joy. Without pain or grief, we can't feel love. So it's like, I'm like, enjoy the full spectrum of our emotions and realize that all of it is okay. And learning, like when I'm working with clients, I help them realize that learning to sit in discomfort becomes our superpower. Because once we realize we can sit and be uncomfortable and we still come out okay on the other side, we become unstoppable. Nothing can stop us.
Yeah. And it's to recognize the like for me, there's in the program I've created, there's one segment, it's like self-compassion.
Exactly.
And it's really to look at yourself, how and where you are now, and tell yourself it's okay to suffer. Things are difficult right now, and give yourself some love. Just like, I like the example that I give, saying that you wouldn't talk to your best girlfriend most of the time the way you talk to yourself, right?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Yep.
Like you would imagine, if you're in a difficult situation, imagine yourself that you're your best girlfriend or best, boyfriend and a male friend, whatever. And then tell yourself how, mind you guys, sometimes they can be rough between one another, but I've heard, but tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay to not feel good today. It's okay to feel a little bit depressed, and it's okay that you want to cry. Just cry, have a good cry. It's okay, and allow ourselves to really be our emotion, and to being able to express them without judgment, for sure.
Yep, for sure.
So how has since that realization, how has your coaching changed, and how has your approach to your client have changed since then? Like what have you been doing different now with the people that you encounter, people you help?
Well, what I found before when I was helping people and we were just focusing on alcohol, and part of it was still the societal messaging, but I kept running into things like the labels, like addict and alcoholic, and I kept going back to that again, that's the messaging. And I just felt like there was just a disconnect for me personally, because I was like, I'm trying to help people. If they want to drink less or they want to stop drinking completely, of course I can help them with that. But I felt like I kept kind of bumping up into the messaging. And when I finally realized this, like I said, at this in-person event, talking with this friend of mine, this fellow mastermind friend, I realized that's really where my passion is. Of course, I can help people stop over drinking alcohol, but my passion is around undoing the societal messaging. And again, it's bigger, it's broader than just alcohols. It's the messaging, like I said. And so then I was really like, this is what I'm passionate about. And it was like, I think, it kept coming up and it kept like surfacing for me, but I was like, why do I not quite feel like it's totally resonating when I'm talking with someone about stopping over drinking alcohol, but I keep bumping into the messaging. And I realized, again, because that's also what I dealt with growing up, was if it's not A+ work or A work, it needs to be fixed. And it's like, you need to be fixed. And it's like that concept that we need to be fixed is absolutely false. And it's like, I know, when my family was saying that to me, they're doing it from a place of love. But again, it's like, that's how they were raised. And so it's like, even getting the energy, thinking of like conversations I had with my parents, it's like, getting that energy and realizing that, this is things that were perpetuated in their families. And it's these kinds of stories that keep people locked in place where they feel like, oh, I'm a bad person, I'm unworthy, I'm broken, I need to fix something. And it's helping my clients learn, of course you can make a change, but helping them learn how to do it from a place of wanting to and a reason that they like, not from thinking that they're broken and need fixing, or they just even being like, I don't want to make a change, I just want to let go of this messaging, because they've got this messaging running in their head. So that's the biggest shift.
Yeah. So what are key things that you wish people would know, that they can't see for themselves? Like what are key points that you would like people to really start looking at and see how they can help themselves?
One of them, the biggest thing, which you're probably aware of, which I think we talked about before, but really the link between what we're thinking and what we're feeling, and how that creates the actions in our life. I see a lot of coaches that really just focus on helping someone change the circumstance or change actions. But if someone is just changing the actions, but they don't address the underlying thoughts or feelings that are going on, that's not sustainable. So that's one thing that I would love for clients to really see, is that if they think that they're going to change the action and they're going to hustle their way out of a feeling, the feeling will still come back. And so really looking at the awareness around, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And not doing it from a place of judgment, but just asking, what's going on for me right now? What's happening? How is this thought serving me, or how is it not serving me? So that's the biggest piece, is creating that awareness in that space and that power of the pause. Another thing that I wish people would really see is that our brains, I use the analogy, I heard this from another coach, where they were talking about our brains will get in the cycle of making, like when you're driving a car, like constantly making a left turn. And we think, oh, this is just the way my mind is wired, I'm always making left turns. And it's like, but we can train our brains to also make right turns. It's totally achievable and totally possible. I think we get stuck in these thought loops that we can't get out of, just like we're driving a car and we're only making left turns. And we realize if we have the skills, if we learn the skills with a coach, we can learn how to make a right turn. Our brains can do it. It's totally possible and totally doable. But I think we get stuck in that place of, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get it out of this. I don't know how to fix this. And the last thing is, it's similar to that coaching where it talks about, changing your actions or changing something around you. But people can make these changes without anything or anyone around them having to change. They don't have to change their situation. They don't even, nothing around a client has to change for that client to make massive shifts in his or her life. A lot of times we think, this has to change outside of me, or this person should act differently, or my situation needs to change. That is absolutely untrue. Everything we can do ourselves, or clients can do themselves. So
yeah, it's all about perspective. It's all about, I call that like having filters in front of our eyes that makes us situation a certain way that affect us positively or negatively, right? Some filters will make things much more beautiful, and some filter will make things a lot more difficult. And so if we change what's in here, then what we see will be different. Like, for example, I wear these glasses. If I remove the glasses, that change what I see. So I like wearing those glasses because it gives me clarity. It gives me focus. But if the glasses were orange or red or beautiful, or like the lens were different colors, then the color would be distorted. We all have tried those sunglasses that you put on and it changed, polarized sunglasses. Become so bright and all that. But, it's the same thing in our lives. We all have, our own filters. And once we assess those filters, that's what you're saying, you can just change, the way you perceive things. And then the way you react to that perception can create more peace in yourself and tell yourself that I'm okay, right?
Well, and using your analogy of the glasses, because I had used a similar one where like I was viewing everything from that lens of A- work, it's broken, needs fixing, versus like truly crystal clear glasses where it's just like, this is just the way it is. Your analogy of like, you could have different color glasses like red or blue or orange or green. And so that's really helping a client learn. They can choose to put on a different color pair of glasses, one that's serving them or not serving them, but not doing it from thinking that any of the pairs of glasses are broken. It's like all pairs of glasses are fine. They're all fine in their imperfections, and clients can choose to say, I'm going to put on this pair of glasses today, or I'm going to put on this other pair of glasses today, or this pair is not serving me anymore. This one is serving me more.
Yeah.
And learning that every pair of glasses has its imperfections, quote unquote, and that's totally normal. Like I said, we have 8 billion humans in the world. We're all unique. And so that's the same thing. All these pairs of glasses are unique. They're not, it's not even imperfect, it's that they're unique.
Yeah.
That's a great, your analogy about the glasses is a great one, because I had a similar one. But like, I also like, I don't know if you've heard, like coaches will talk about how they'll help clients. Like if clients are inside a jar and they can't read the ingredients from the inside, but a coach can help them see the ingredients from the outside.
Yeah.
And which is a great analogy. But the other part of it is, but if the client thinks that the jar is broken and the jar is bad, that's a whole nother mindset shift that really needs to be addressed. And so realizing that, again, just like glasses, every jar is unique. Every jar has little waves in it, little surface changes, and all of those are perfectly fine. There is no, bad jar or good jar. So it's kind of similar to that. But.
Yeah. When you were talking about the jar, it made me think of, I saw a video a couple of weeks ago of an artist that's making glass work. And even though he's creating 4 different vases, from the same techniques, but they all look different. They all have the little intricacy, and that's us, right? We're all a little different. We all, even though we're all human beings, but we all have our quality and our fault, and that's what makes us human beings. That's what makes us, like perfect human being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's
imperfect human being.
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing. And that goes in, like I said, a lot of the societal messaging I'll hear is if you're not happy 100% of the time, something's wrong with you. And it's like, that's the big lie. So what you just described about, we're all perfect in our uniqueness or imperfections. That's the truth. Our human condition, that's just the way it is. Society makes us think that if you're not happy all the time, something's wrong with you. Or if you're not doing this, or you don't look this way, you're bad, you're broken, something's wrong. And it's like, that's absolutely BS. So that's the BFL, the crappy messaging. I'm like, I'm on a mission.
So how would someone start making changes and without thinking that they're broken or they need to fix themselves? So what are key points that you can tell people like they can start to do today if they feel that they're broken and that's it, they can't be fixed? But how can someone start making changes for the betterment of themselves?
Like you were just saying, like that phrase, they think they're broken. Realizing that that's just a thought. Someone is thinking I'm broken, and any thought we have can be changed, can be questioned. And so again, that's that awareness to just catch ourselves thinking, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking I'm broken, I'm thinking I'm bad. And first, the biggest piece is just catching ourselves that we're even thinking these thoughts, that this script and this programming is running in our mind. I don't know if you realize this, you probably do, but we have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Most of them come from our subconscious. So our minds are constantly thinking and going. And like I said, it's like a toddler running around with a Sharpie in the room. 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. So catching those, and most of them are going to come from the place of our subconscious looking for something that's wrong. So it's going to default, quote unquote, to the negative. So first off, that's something we can do right now. Someone can catch themselves and say, oh, I'm thinking X, Y, Z. And then just starting to get curious with it, not from a place of judgment, but just being like, why am I thinking this? Exactly. I hear myself thinking this. And why am I thinking this? And just starting to question it, like, how is this not serving me? How is this useful? How is it not serving me? What am I making what's going on mean? What am I making what's happening around me mean about me? So that's the biggest thing for anyone who's listening to this. That's the biggest takeaway, is just catching yourself thinking. Awareness and starting to question it from that place of curiosity and compassion, not from I'm broken, I need to be fixing, because your brain is operating perfectly. Your brain is doing totally normal what 8 billion other brains are doing. They're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're not alone for sure.
No, not at all. I think people think they are. I think people think that their mind is running off the tracks and that they're weird. And it's like, no, everyone's brain is that way. That's normal.
Yeah.
It's operating.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, like, for many people that I've talked to and coach, and when, for example, somebody that want to eliminate some weight, they want to reduce their weight, and I say, well, before you start any diet, the diet start here.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
you got to work with your brain first. Never mind what you eat, doesn't matter. You know, but you have to work with the brain, and that's the same for everything. For people that have negative, you know, actions in their life, you know, that are, you know, let's say they're aggressive, or they're sad, or they're depressed, or, you know, regardless of what's your situation, if you assess your thought first and realize what kind of thinking is going on in here, and awareness is the key number one, I think. And without that, you can't change. If you just say, okay, I'm going to starve myself, and I'm going to cut all the sugar, and I'm going to cut all of that, and I'm going to starve, and I'm going to, then your weight's going to go down for the first 3 weeks. But then as soon as you stop, it's going to go back up, because you don't resolve the problem. We need to resolve. The brain is the CPU of our body. So we need to fix the CPU, you know, and become aware of which program are running in, and and
realizing that our brain isn't even a problem. It's just that, like you said, this is the program we have. So like you said, if someone is feeling, they're having a thought like, oh, I'm bummed out, and they're feeling depressed, that's okay. Totally fine. Your brain is operating fine. But you're right. Like you talked about the weight gain or weight loss, but another example is you'll hear people that'll strive for a goal. They'll reach their goal and they'll still think, man, but I don't feel fulfilled.
They're still going to be unhappy, because that's
exactly. It's not about achieving the goal. The goal doesn't make us feel or think a certain way. We can choose to be like, I made that goal happen today in our minds. We can be successful in that goal today. Or like you said, I can be like, hey, I've lost 20 pounds in my mind today. Again, it's not about the situation. It's really about what our minds are doing, and realizing, again, our brains are operating perfectly, whether we're feeling emotions that we like or emotions we're not as comfortable with. Like I said, I don't even call them bad or good. It's like, they're just our emotional spectrum. Like I said, it's like a painter's palette. We wouldn't call gray colors and black colors and brown colors bad. They're just part of a painter's color palette to paint a full canvas of our lives. So
that's amazing. And just, you know, the thing is, people are often talking about happiness and unhappiness and all that. And people are often using anchor to their happiness, right? Like, I'm happy because I have a boyfriend that loves me. I'm happy because I have children that are cherishing me, like the little one, like, oh, mommy, I love you. That brings me so much happiness. I'm happy because I have a great job. I'm happy, you know. And what happened is that it's a bad anchor, because if these things goes away, then people end up being empty. Right.
It's just external. They don't realize that they're actually creating that happiness from their thoughts about it.
Exactly.
And that's where it's like nothing around them has to change. They can create happiness on their own.
For no reason, like just now.
Exactly. Or just be, again, like I said, and not even thinking they have to create happiness. That's, again, that societal messaging. Just learning to be okay with who they are, with all their feelings.
And that will just create a state of being well with yourself. Whether it's, you know, happiness, or it's okay to be sad. You can be well and being sad. You can, you know, like today, I'm not happy because it's my birthday. You know, I'm just happy because it's a day that I'm talking with Leigh, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But I like all the messages on my Facebook walls. Like, there's about 100,000.
Yeah.
So I think I'll do a global. Thank you so much, everyone, because I'll spend 3 hours writing little messages.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, we need to laugh. You need to take life lightly. Laugh at yourself too, right? I mean, when we do mistake, regardless of what that is, like, laugh. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Life goes on. In 30 years from now, when you look at your life today and you'll think of the mistake or the things that you've done, you'll say, you know, like, she was young. She just experienced, you know, she just learned. It's part of us being human.
Part of our human
Exactly.
experience. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so just be kind to yourself. Love yourself, regardless, no matter what. Love yourself
Mhm.
and accept how you are. Right? No
Yeah.
guilt trip there.
Well, and I know it's harder than it sounds. That's the thing is we are so programmed, like I said, by the messaging, and people again think, oh, I can use positive affirmations and think myself into it, but that's not necessarily the case because if they don't unravel the thought that's underneath
Yeah.
the programming they may have gotten as a child, trying to think themselves into something motivational is not going to stick. And so it's
It's
really
not
the coaching.
sustainable.
Yeah. The coaching is saying, let's go back and find what's that programming that's going
Yeah.
underneath, because that's where we'll get the traction and that's where it becomes sustainable and they can then learn to do it on their own. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
That's awesome. So how can people get in touch with you? Well, I think you gave me a LinkedIn link, so I can
Yep.
share your LinkedIn
Yep.
into
Yep.
our chat later. I can go and post that.
Yeah.
And
That's profile is over on LinkedIn. That's the best way to reach out and connect with me.
beautiful.
And yeah.
And any last word before we go? I'm so excited that you came and I like you and your approach. I think that's absolutely fantastic because so many people talk themselves the wrong way, right? Like the BFL. I think that's awesome. The big lie, right?
Well, and like I said, I did too. I mean, I spent decades studying self-improvement and
Yeah.
positive psychology and motivate, but it didn't work. And I'm like, well, why is this not working? I finally realized it's like, oh, well, part of it is we're trying to, positive talk ourselves into things that we don't really believe because we've got that underlying programming going on that's come from family, society, culture, religion, wherever. And so looking at that and really unraveling. But yeah, people can connect with me on LinkedIn. I always offer, I do, of course, a free consult call, but I'm actually starting to offer, it's a 1 hour powerful coaching conversation. Because what I find that until really talking with someone in a coaching conversation, it can be the most powerful hour of that person's life. And so separate from a consult call, it's truly just really helping them see how coaching really deeply for an hour is completely different from just hearing about it. So I'm also offering that too, but they can connect with me. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's awesome. I thank you so much for
You're welcome. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I love doing this.
And celebrating my birthday with me. There's much more to come. The day is just starting.
Yeah.
And one more thing I'd like to add for whomever's listening this week, and I'll put the link in the chat also. I'm part of a gift giveaway where, and also I'm doing that the whole month, not just doing the gift giveaway. I already started, so I already have some people booked up, but I'm gifting 30 coaching session in 30 days for 30 people.
That's right. I saw that. I saw your promo on that.
Yes, because, giving back or giving brings so much more joy than receiving. And it makes me so happy to be able, just like you just said for yourself, being able to give to others. And if whatever, say the same language you just said, I was hearing myself when you were talking, like if I'm able to change someone's life in that hour, 45 minutes that I'll be talking with them, and being able to turn on some light switch that would allow them to see life differently and move in a different direction. And that's pretty much what you were saying in your own language, but being able to help people make a difference in their own life and be comfortable in their own skin, basically.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great gift.
So that's awesome. So thank you so much. I have, who am I seeing next week? Let's find out. I'm looking at my schedule. Who's going to be my guest next week? My guest next week is Alicia Manis, and she's also a life coach, and she also works with mindset. And I'm super excited to have her next week. So stay tuned. 12 o'clock next week, same day, same time. And so just stay here, Leigh. We'll say goodbye to everyone, and we'll wrap up on the back end. And thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. Comment in the chat if you have any question. We're going to look through the chat as we go through and make sure that we answer those questions. And don't hesitate to contact Leigh for any help into finding your true self and cash on my birthday present too. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.